ஹலோ ஃப்ரெண்ட்ஸ், வெல்கம் டு ஐஎன்எஸ் லேர்னிங். நாம் இப்போ பார்த்துட்ருக்க டாபிக் +2 ஹிஸ்ட்ரி புக் தான் பார்த்துட்ருக்கோம். நான் ஆல்ரெடி பார்ட் 1 பண்ணியிருக்கேன். ஸோ நீங்கள் அந்த வீடியோ பார்க்கலன்னா டிஸ்கிரிப்ஷனில் இருக்கிற லிங்கை கிளிக் பண்ணி போய் அந்த வீடியோ பார்த்துட்டு வந்துடுங்க. நம்ம இப்போ பார்க்க போகிறது பார்ட் 2. ஸோ வாங்க வீடியோக்குள்ளே போகலாம். Western education and its impact. The education in pre-British India. Education in pre-colonial India was characterized by segmentation along religious and caste lines. Among the Hindus, Brahmins had the exclusive privilege to acquire higher religious and philosophical knowledge. They monopolized the education system and occupied positions in the society. Monopolized நாம் ஒருத்தர் மட்டுமே அதிகாரம் செலுத்துறது, ஒரு விஷயத்தில் ஒருத்தர் மட்டுமே மொத்த அதிகாரத்தை எடுத்துக்கிறது. ஸோ அது மோனோபோலைஸ்டு. Primarily as priests and teachers, they studied in special seminaries such as Vidyalayas and Chatuspatis. The medium of instruction was Sanskrit, which was considered as a sacred language. Technical knowledge, especially in relation to architecture, metallurgy, etc., was passed hereditarily. This came in the way of innovation. Another shortcoming of this system was that it barred women, lower caste, and other underprivileged people from accessing education. The emphasis on rote learning was another impediment to innovation. B. Contribution of colonial state, Michaela system of education. The colonial government aided the spread of modern education in India for a different reason than educating and empowering the Indians. To administer a large colony like India, the British needed a large number of personnel to work for them. It was impossible for the British to import a educated lot needed in such large numbers from Britain. With this aim, the English Education Act was passed by the Council of India in 1835. T.B. Michaela drafted the system of education introduced in India. Consequently, the colonial administration started schools, colleges, and universities imparting English and modern education in India. Universities were established in Bombay, Madras, and Calcutta in 1857. The colonial government expected this section of educated Indians to be loyal to the British and act as a pillars of British Raj. ஸோ அவங்க எதுக்காக இந்தியாவுக்கு எஜுகேஷன் கொண்டு வராங்க அப்படின்னா, அவங்களுக்கு இவ்வளோ பெரிய காலனியை ஆட்சி பண்ணுறதுக்கு நிறைய படித்த ஆட்கள் வேணும். அவங்களால பிரிட்டன்லேருந்து அவங்கள கொண்டு வர முடியல. அதனால என்ன பண்ணுறாங்கன்னா, இங்கே இருக்க இந்தியன்ஸையே படிக்க வச்சு அவங்கள லாயலாக இருக்க வைக்க பார்க்குறாங்க. T.B. Michaela was India's first law member of the Governor General in Council from 1834 to 1838. Before Michaela arrived in India, the General Committee of Public Instruction was formed in 1823 with the responsibility to guide the East India Company on the matter of education and the medium of instruction. The committee was split into two groups. The Orientalist group advocated education in vernacular languages. Vernacular language na anga irukka local languages. The Anglicist advocated Western education in English. Michaela was on the side of Anglicist and wrote his famous Minute on Indian Education in 1835. In this minute, he argued for Western education in the English language. His intention behind supporting the Anglicist was that he wanted to create a class of persons from within India who would be Indian in blood and color, but English in taste, in opinion, in morals, and in intellect. The British created an educated Indian middle class for their own ends, but sneered at it as the Babu class. That very class, however, became a progressive intelligentsia of India and played a leading role in mobilizing the people for the liberation of the country. Role of educated middle class. The economic and administrative transformation on the one side and the growth of Western education on the other side gave the space for the growth of new social classes. From within these social classes, a modern Indian intelligentsia emerged. The Neosocial classes created by the British Raj, which included the Indian trading and business communities, landlords, moneylenders, English educated Indians employed in imperial subordinate services, lawyers and doctors initially adopt a positive approach towards the colonial administration. However, soon they realized that their interest would be better served only in independent India. People of the said social classes began to play a prominent role in promoting patriotism among the people. The consciousness of these classes found articulation in the number of associations prior to the founding of the Indian National Congress at the national level. Rajaram Mohan Rai, Ishwar Chandra Vidyasagar, Swami Vivekananda, Arbindo Ghosh, Gopalakrishna Gokhale, Dadabhai Nauroji, Feroz Shah Mehta, Surendranath Banerjee, and others who belong to modern Indian intelligentsia led the social, religious, and political movements in India. Educated Indians had exposure to ideas of nationalism, democracy, socialism, etc., articulated by John Locke, James Stuart Mill, Mazzini, Garibaldi, Rousseau, Thomas Paine, Marx, and other Western intellectuals. ஸோ இவங்க படிக்க ஆரம்பித்த உடனே இவங்க என்ன பண்ணுறாங்கன்னா வெஸ்டர்ன் ஐடியாஸ் வெஸ்டர்ன் தாட்ஸ் எல்லாமே இவங்க படிக்க ஆரம்பிக்கிறாங்க. ஸோ நேஷ்னல் மூமெண்ட் வந்து ஸ்டார்ட் பண்ணுறதுக்கு இது ஒரு மோட்டிவாக இருக்குது. The right of the free press, the right of free speech, and the right of association were the three inherent rights which their European counterpart held dear to their heart, and the educated Indians too desired to cling to. Various forums came into existence where people could meet and discuss the issues affecting their interest. This became possible now at the national level due to a rapid expansion of transport network and establishment of postal, telegraph and wireless services all over India. Contribution of missionaries. One of the earliest initiatives to impart modern education among Indians was taken up by the Christian missionaries, inspired by the proselytizing spirit. They attacked polytheism and caste inequalities that were prevalent among the Hindus. One of the methods adopted by the missionaries to preach Christianity was through modern secular education. They provided opportunities to acquire education to the underprivileged and marginalized sections who were denied learning opportunities in the traditional education system. However, only a very small fraction converted to Christianity, but the challenge posed by Christianity led to various social and religious reform movements. Social and religious reforms. The English educated intelligentsia felt the need for reforming the society before involving the people in any political programs. The reform movements in 19th century are categorized as 1. Pharmacist movements such as Brahmo Samaj founded by Rajaram Mohan Rai, the Pratana Samaj founded by Dr. Atmaram Pandurang, and the Aligarh movement represented by Sir Syed Ahmad Khan. 2. Revivalist movements such as Arya Samaj, the Ramakrishna Mission, and the Deoband movement. 3. There were social movements led by Jyotiba Phule in Pune, Narayana Guru and Ayyankali in Kerala, and Ramalinga Adigal, Vaikunta Swamigal, and later Ayodhi Dasar in Tamil Nadu. All these reformers and their contribution have been dealt with comprehensively in 11th standard textbook. The reformers of 19th century responded to the challenge posed by Western Enlightenment knowledge based on reason. Indian national consciousness emerged as a result of the rethinking triggered by these reforms. The Brahmo Samaj was founded by Ram Mohan Rai in 1828. Other socio-cultural organizations like the Pradhana Samaj 1867, Arya Samaj 1875 were founded subsequently. Roy's initiative was followed up by reformers like Keshav Chandra Sen and Ishwar Chandra Vidyasagar. Abolition of sati and child marriage and widow remarriage became the main concerns for these reformers. The Aligarh movement played a similar role among the Muslims. Slowly, organizations and associations of political nature came up in different parts of British India to vent the grievances of the people. 1.4 Other decisive factors for the rise of nationalism. A. Memories of 1857. Indian national movement dates its birth from the 1857 uprising. The outrages committed by the British army after putting down the revolt remained unavenged. Even the court martial law and formalities were not observed. Officers who sat on the court martial swore that they would hang their prisoners guilty or innocent, and if any dared to raise his voice against such indiscriminate vengeance, he was silenced by his angry colleagues. Persons condemned to death after the mockery of a trial were often tortured by soldiers before their execution, while the officers looked on approvingly. It is worth recalling that Elphinstone, governor of Bombay Presidency, wrote to Sir John Lawrence, future Viceroy of India, 1864, about the British siege of Delhi during June-September 1857. A wholesale vengeance is being taken without distinction of friend or foe. As regards the looting, we have indeed surpassed Nadir Shah. B. Racial discrimination. The English followed a policy of racial discrimination. The systematic exclusion of Indians from higher official positions came to be looked upon as an anti-Indian policy measure, and the resultant discontent of the Indian upper classes led the Indians to revolt against the British rule. When civil service examinations were introduced, the age limit was fixed at 21. When Indians were making it with the view to debarring the Indians from entering the civil services, the age limit was reduced to 19. Similarly, despite request from Indian educated middle class to hold the civil service examination simultaneously in India, the imperial government refused to concede the request. Repressive as well as exploitative measures against Indians. Repressive regulations like Section 124A of Indian Penal Code 1870, punishing attempts to excite disaffection towards the government, and the Vernacular Press Act 1878, censoring the press, evoked protest. Abolition of custom duty on cotton manufacturers exported from England and levy of excise duty on cotton fabrics manufactured in India created nationwide discontent. During the viceroyalty of Ripon, the Indian judges were empowered through the Ilbert Bill to try the Europeans, but in the face of resistance from Europeans, the bill was amended to suit the European interest. ஸோ இது என்னன்னா, ரிப்பன் வந்து வைஸ்ராயாக இருக்கிற அந்த டைமில் வந்து என்ன சொல்லியிருப்பாங்கன்னா, இந்தியன் ஜட்ஜஸ் வந்து யூரோப்பியன்ஸோடைய கேஸை வந்து இந்தியன் ஜட்ஜஸ் ஹியர் பண்ணலாம் அப்படின்னு சொல்லியிருப்பாங்க. இதுக்கு பேர் தான் இல்பர்ட் பில். ஓகே, ஸோ அந்த பில்லை வந்து அதுக்கப்புறம் வேண்டான்னு சொல்லி ஸ்ட்ரைக் அவுட் பண்ணிடுவாங்க. D. Role of press. The introduction of printing press in India was an event of great significance. It helped people to spread modern ideas of self-government, democracy, civil rights, and industrialization. The press became the critic of politics. It addressed the people on several issues affecting the country. Raja Ram Mohan Roy's Sambat Kaumudi, 1821, in Bengal, and Miratul Akbar, 1822, in Persian, played a progressive role in educating the people on issues of public importance. Later on, number of nationalist and vernacular newspapers came to be launched to build public opinion, and they did yeoman service in fostering nationalist consciousness. Among them, Amrit Bazar Patrika, the Bombay Chronicle, the Tribune, the Indian Mirror, the Hindu, and Swadesamitran were prominent. E. Invoking India's glorious past. Orientalists like William Jones, Charles Wilkins, and Max Muller explored and translated religious, historical, and literary texts from Sanskrit, Persian, Arabic into English and made them available to all. ஓரியன்டலிஸ்ட்னா ஈஸ்ட் ஏஷியனோட இது இருக்குது பார்த்தீங்களா, அதெல்லாமே ஓரியன்டலிஸ்ட் அப்படின்னு சொல்லுவாங்க. Influenced by the richness of Indian traditions and scholarship many of the early nationalists made a fervent plea to revive the pristine glory of India. Aurobindo Ghosh would write, "The mission of nationalism, in our view, is to recover Indian thought, Indian character, Indian perceptions, Indian energy, Indian greatness, and to solve the problem that perplexes the world in an Indian spirit and from the Indian standpoint." Thank you friends, thank you for watching. So next 1.5 இருந்து நம்ம third partல பார்க்கலாம். See you all.